Chevy fast, might lift off. Big chain, I'm a big dog. She can't keep her hands off. I've been grinding all week. Ain't got no time to sleep. Shooting my shot like I play for the league. Young nigga, can't take no days off. Stick to the plan. Stick it up. Count it up, run through the bands. Young nigga, stick to the plan. Stick it up. Count it up, run through the bands. Young nigga, stick to the plan. Stick it up. Count it up, run through the bands. Young nigga, stick to the plan. Lord, I can't take no.
What's going on, guys? Back with another one. Tough Enough TV. I'm Glenn. I got a special guest today. STL legend, big bro, Marvin McNutt. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm living, man. You know, during this COVID situation, but we all doing good.
Yeah, family doing all right?
Yeah, man. We everybody doing good. You know, everybody back home doing well. The kids driving me crazy, but for the most part, man, everybody doing good. You know, we acclimated now.
That's what's up. Well, let's talk about Hazelwood Central alum. I had Mike on here already. I had Spencer on here already. Y'all was producing athletes, you know, in that time span. Tell us about your experience at Hazelwood Central. You know, 3-sport athlete.
Yeah. Man, at HC, man, it was a legendary place, man. I mean, coming in as a freshman, I remember Nick Patterson and Kalen Grimes being like the two big top dogs in my year, man. You know what I mean? I'm like looking at these dudes like man, first off, I never played football yet. So I was just looking at Nick like, man, he a legend going to O State. You know what I mean? And then you got Kalen, who was, you know, missed everything for our basketball team at the time, and he was going to Mizzou. So I'm looking at it like, man, I just got to get there, and I'm going to go somewhere. Right. You know what I mean? Do something right, and I'm going to get to where I need to go. Right. But, man, that experience was great, man. I mean, the athletes that I had around me, people don't realize, too, man, is that, like, a lot of it, yeah, man, we balled. But, man, I had some dogs at Central when I was playing. You know, my 06, 017, man, I had a 4-4 guy. I had another guy on baseball playing receiver. You know, then they had Kenny Sims going down to Tulsa in my slot, you know, CO, Kazim, you know what I mean? You know, you just had weapons. Then Devion came, you know what I mean? And I mean, we just had weapon after weapon. AJ Jemison. I mean, we was just putting it out there. So, I mean, it was just like, if you produce, you play well, you do the right thing, all the things they kind of talk about at this school, you're going to do it right. Because, I mean, my junior year, we went and – I mean, we went – I lost to the state champion and everything. You know what I mean? I went to football, lost state to DeSmet. We lost to Vashon after they was number one the year before in the nation. Right. You know what I mean? Putting like 15 straight on him. And then we went to baseball, hit a grand slam to take us to state, but then we lose in the state finals by one. I mean, it's one of those things, man. It's like, you know, a great individual year, you know, came up short as a team a couple times, but, man, the dudes we had on our teams, man, they was legit.
For sure, most definitely. Was y'all offensive coordinator Coach Ryan then when you were there?
No, so my offensive coordinator was Coach Brandon still when we was there. Okay, Brandon, so it's Coach Brandon, Coach McCullough. Okay. Was like Coach Close head coach, Coach Brandon. I mean, and then Coach Ryan. I feel like Coach Ryan.
He did.
Not Coach Ryan. Coach Nichols. Coach Nichols. Okay. He was helping out. Okay. And then like you had Coach Ryan, old Coach Ryan. He was there. And then a couple other guys on the other side. But it was legendary, man. I mean, we hadn't beat Hazelwood East in about 10 years since I had came there. Yeah, East. It was like 1996 was the last time we beat them up until the time that we beat them that time ever since we started whooping on them. Yeah,
where Chris Brooks and them had East and rocking, and Buchanan all them had.
Man, they had them rocking. A-Train, and they had two tackles, both 300. Yeah. And I remember they hit me at the same time. Boy, I woke up like, man, what is happening?
That was your first start.
Yeah, that was my first start ever, man. Putman ended up getting hurt.
Right, yeah.
And we went down. It was a Tennessee game, too. Well, actually, no, he didn't get hurt in the Tennessee game. He got hurt in the – actually, was that Tennessee? It was.
Yeah.
Yep. We played Melrose, Tennessee.
Yep.
They came down to St. Louis that time. Mm-hmm. And we had them on the ropes. It was homecoming. I lost the game for us. I fumbled the snap. All I had to do was snap the ball and hand the ball off to AJ Jemison. You know what I mean? And me and the center at the time, man, Vaughn, I just couldn't get snaps from him. I was always used to Steve Laura, who would put it right there. Vaughn's come through more this way. First one, I kind of bobbled, hand it off, all good. Second one, boom, off the chest, over onto the defense. They pick it up, truck me.
Yeah.
Man, I was so hurt. Next game, we played Hazelwood East. Coach like, hey, you started. I'm like, all right, man. I mean, I get it. Putman broke his collarbone.
Right.
Man, we get our first drive, go the whole first drive down the field.
I remember.
And we got this play that we ran versus Kazim that, hey, if I fake the handoff, he should be wide open if I do it right. Boom. So I fake it, and I see, and I open up, and he not there. But I still say to myself, I'm trusting him anyway.
Yeah.
I need to get this out of my hands. You know what I mean? Everybody talk about this Hazel with East D-line. I don't need to be here for that.
Yeah.
Boom, throw a pick. They take that bitch all the way down. Sorry.
You're
Take
good.
it all the way down. And next thing you know, man, after that, you don't even remember the game, to be honest with you. You just remember Gerald left, Chris Brooks right. Lil Gerald left, Chris Brooks right.
Yeah. They was loaded too, boy. That was my sister class 05, so I was at all the games when I was coming up. Chris Brooks and them. I was at all of them. But tell us your decision on going to Iowa. I know you had a couple of offers for baseball too. Why you choose football?
Man, when I was playing baseball, basketball, and football, man, first off, football just all of a sudden when I exploded onto the scene, it was just, I got a lot of pub, and next thing you know, I'm getting college coaches coming in left and right, and like baseball and basketball, they had been sending letters, been talking to me, but nobody was ever just like showing up to the school, like football was. I mean, my first day in class, I remember just kind of being like halfway sleeping in one of my classes, get called down to my coach's office, Wisconsin in there. Next day, Nebraska. Later that day, Michigan State. Then, you know what I mean, then Iowa, then Indiana, and all these schools. So I started kind of using my gut, but also math. Like, man, I'm getting all these huge offers. And I know basketball, I got to really explode in the AAU basketball scene again, because we wasn't like traveling a lot as a high school team at that time like we used to. So basketball wasn't like, I mean, I was getting a lot of looks because I had the Eagles and I was getting offers, but a lot of the smaller like schools around here that knew about us. You know what I mean? And then it was like baseball came. It was like, if we draft you, Marvin, what would you do? So I said, it just depends on what round. If I got drafted first 10 rounds, I mean, shoot, it looks like I'm gonna be playing baseball.
Exactly.
So we had one of those types of experiences where, it just kind of came down to, man, I was getting big looks. I mean, from every conference in the United States, big school in football at playing quarterback. So I was like, and to be honest, I mean, I just looked at, when they bring you to a recruiting trip and you see 70,000 fans going crazy in that black and gold, black and gold was already love for me, back in high school. So being up there, being it's not too far from home, Mizzou they kind of slid on me a little bit because I didn't like how their head coach treated me when I came down there. He didn't treat me like all these other schools.
I already know about Mizzou.
Coach Pinko, he was all about his Texas guys. So I was like, all right, look, I'm out. And he already had Blaine Gabbert and all those guys signed. So he wasn't really looking for me to really come in and do nothing. So after that, I ended up kind of being like, man, Iowa feel like a good fit. Went up to visit, party with a couple of my dogs, but then we also did this little one-day camp. Me and my buddy T. Sash, man, you see the facilities up there. They show you a different way, and they also tell you, this is what we're about. Man, I looked on that wall, man. Every person that there was like, if you become a senior and you stay here with Coach Ferentz, you're gonna get an opportunity to go to the NFL. Like, that's just almost a given. If you play, you're gonna get an opportunity to go to the NFL. But not only that, I saw that he was consistent in his message and who he was, man. Only head coach come down. He had dinner with my mom and dad. We had my mom laid out a full course. I mean, people know my mom in St. Louis. I mean, she throwing it down. You know what I mean? Honey hot wings, mac and cheese, sweet potatoes. You know what I mean? Sat there, ate dinner with us and our family, and just got to know us on a different level. And that just let me know that, okay, he really here for the long haul for me and my family. So that just gave me the energy right there to say, yeah, like, I can trust you and my family trusts you to do what needed to be done for me and for what's best for my life.
Sure. And I believe that's probably why you had a great career there, because you felt like home. Like you said, it was black and gold. You were the all-time leading receiver in yards and touchdowns at Iowa, probably the best receiver to come out of there. And then you get drafted by the Eagles in the 6th round. Tell us about the experience. You go play with Vick.
Man, so that was crazy. First off, I was pissed off that I was drafted so low, but at the same time, that put a little extra. But like you say, I mean, with Vick, man, lefty QB coming out of St. Louis, man, Vick was my guy to look at to say, man, that's my plateau that I need to be at. So, man, I remember my first practice, man, I run a comeback, boom, come back around, catch it, snag it, finish. And what's crazy is I kind of looked at the ball like, yo, that's Mike Vick. I just caught this from. You know what I mean? And so it was like one of them surreal experiences because my draft class, we was loaded, and I was like kind of like supposed to be like the steal. It was me. So at first it was, let me start, Fletcher Cox.
Right.
And then I think Brandon Boykin was second round.
Okay.
We, the DB from Georgia. Then we had Nick Foles, me, Polk, and a couple other running backs. And third round was Vinny Curry. Okay. And so we all came in that thing, and man, it was surreal, man. Philadelphia was a great fan experience. As a rookie, it sucked for me, man, because I came in loaded in my receivers room. You know what I mean? Jeremy Maclin, Deshaun Jackson, Jason Avant, Riley Cooper. You know what I mean? And I wasn't a special teams guy. You know what I mean? So it was just like I think the fit wasn't what I wanted, but at the same time I should have took over. I didn't work the way I should have, and to get to where I needed to. But man, that experience was great because then after that I started working, got down to Miami, right? So Miami picked me up once Coach Kelly came. Like, during that year, I mean, that Philadelphia team, they were probably the best Philadelphia team to be the worst team. You know what I mean? We turned the ball over so much. We had Mike Vick, LaShawn McCoy, D-Jack, J-Mac, Jason Van Coop, then tight end Brent Selleck. And then the line was nice. I mean, it wasn't like there was really holes anywhere. We just couldn't stop turning the ball over and kept giving up big plays right after that. Defense on the field too long. So, I mean, it was just turmoil through that whole season. Coach Reed got fired. Then Coach Kelly came. Right. I was one of the guys kind of get out of there quick after Coach Kelly came. So we ended up, day after they let me go, Miami picked me up. So I went down to Miami. And then I was down there with, Tannehill and Matt Moore's QBs, and then Lamar what's Lamar's name? The running back down from the Texans now. Lamar Miller, there we go.
Lamar, yeah.
And then we had Mike Wallace, Brian Hartline, Brandon Gibson, Rashard Matthews, man. You know what I mean? You go to places and you realize, man, you where you at. Yeah. Then I ended up didn't make the 53 when I should have. I had the best preseason, and they kind of screwed me with numbers. But it happens. It's a business, and I ended up just going the next day like, all right, I'm killing everybody that steps into me now. Like, ain't even no question. Like it's war until I get on the 53 somewhere. Right. And sure enough, 3 weeks later, I get a call from Carolina. They say, yo, hey, we want you. My agent actually called me right before practice. He goes, Marv, don't go to practice yet. Let me talk to you about something. He said, Carolina called. They want you on their active roster. But you down there in Miami. He said, I know you like it, and I know you're doing well. You know system. You playing all these spots. Because, I mean, I was the third quarterback technically, and then I was also fifth receiver. So if when I got brought up off the practice squad, I was going to be that guy that if something happens to two quarterbacks, I play quarterback in the game. Okay. And at the same time, I play every position as a wide receiver. So I mean, we ended up getting that call, Carolina, and I told my agent, I said, I like it here, man. So he said, what you can do, go talk to your GM. He said, you talk to your GM and you tell him you want to be here, but you got to get after roster money. So, man, me at this 21-year-old kid got to go talk money with this man who's the GM of our football team. You know what I mean? That's pressure. So I say, all right. So I go up to the steps and walk in his office. Hey, what's going on, Marv? I said, hey, I got an offer from Carolina to go be on the active roster. He said, man, congrats. I said, I would like to stay here. I said, and that's only if I can get active roster money. But, at the end of the day, I got to do what's best for me and my family, too. He said, all right, I can't do anything about that right now. I said, all right, appreciate the opportunity. Shoot, 1 o'clock that same day, I was in Carolina. You know what I mean? Suiting it up, trying to get my physical. So, I mean, it's part of the journey, man. It's a fun one too, man.
For sure. So when you went to Carolina, was that Cam Newton? Was that his rookie or second year?
No. So that must have been Cam's probably third year because it was my second. It was my second year. Cam a year older than me. Okay. And so it was his third year. So it was like me, Brandon LaFell, Steve Smith, Ted Ginn.
Ooh, you played with Steve Smith.
Yeah, man. Dominic Hickson, Tavares King, and Brent Burke.
Yeah. So how was it? Not how was it, but why do you think Cam not on the roster right now?
That NFL, man, it's a different character, bro. And then people need to really see it's about the business. That's what I love what they're showing right now with the last episode of the Bulls, right? So many parallels to things that people don't understand, man. Cam was this city's champion.
Right.
Like, and for the way they did him, it was kind of lowball, man. I honestly, like, you really look at it. Like I told Brittany, I said, it's kind of disgusting to see what happens to this NFL or this business sometimes because, you know, as much as they don't want to talk about it, it feels almost like, you know, you being replaced by a cheaper version of yourself, a guy that's not so controversial.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's like, man, this kid has been here since he was a rookie, man, gave everything to this city. And if you wanted him out, you know, give him the opportunity to do it earlier in the year so that he could have been on people's first, hey, we need to go after Cam because he is that type of player. He's an MVP type caliber, especially when he's healthy. I mean, obviously, he's won the Heisman. That tells you enough. And sometimes you see that in this business, it's about what they feel like you can do for me right now. It's not always about the loyalty of the game, because at the end of the day, if that was it, Teddy Bridgewater wouldn't have been the guy to take the place to Cam. It was like, oh, we don't want the controversial black quarterback. We want the one that's, you know, hasn't really had his chance because he's been injured. And again, I wish the best for Teddy Bridgewater. He's a great QB. He's a dog. And he did great down in New Orleans. I just think, you know, if they was going to go a different direction, they knew before to be able to let Cam get an opportunity to get out there. So, and Cam's smart right now. I mean, there's no reason to jump in front of a bullet for no reason. Like, don't go to a terrible team. You know what I mean? Go to a team that really needs you. You know, I honestly think a great fit could be for him to go to the Patriots or San Diego. You know what I mean? Really get into a spot, especially like the Patriots, man. You talk about getting with the coach that ain't going to accept BS. And that's just some things about Cam. Is like there are times that he got to do better as a you know, in certain systems. But again, man, this man's a professional. He works his butt off. I mean, Cam one time took all of us receivers right before camp to a hotel, like kind of like Williamsboro or something like that. It's Coach Pro's workout facility, man, and had his trainer come do for a week, man, and we died. I mean, we were going through it, but this is the way he led and how he worked, man. He was one of those guys that, like, you know, that puts in the same amount of work that he gonna ask for everybody else.
Yeah, no, I see that. Yeah, Panthers definitely played him to the left. They should have cut him way earlier. They let all the quarterback spots get filled, and then they blame it on an injury and all that. But I think he should just sit out until a quarterback get hurt, and they're gonna come calling. Period.
You know they got to. Well, and then that's the thing is he's smart about it. I mean, his agents, I'm sure, are looking over that scenario because don't go anywhere to take less money right now. When you know what kind of quarterback you are. Like, there's no reason Cam Newton should be sitting on anybody's bench.
You can't name me 32 quarterbacks that's better than him.
No, you can't. You can't. and so that's why it's one of those things that, like, okay, like Chicago, you need a quarterback still. LA, I mean, and here's the thing, man. This is what really makes me sick to it is they rather play. And again, I get it. People deserve their money, but again, you pay other people before you pay him. That's just you know. And then you end up going to get somebody else, and it's like, wow, man. Like I even look at like Brandon Cooks, right? It's like I don't know if he was unhappy or what kind of system he was in, but it's like, how the Rams let that man go?
They cut Todd Gurley, and they just
that was the big one. That was the one that hurt my soul. Is, man, this dude comes out here and takes over the league for you and takes you to the Super Bowl.
They still ain't paid him. He talking about he still need his money. They still ain't paid him after they cut him.
See, and that's the thing. But they're gonna have to at some point. At some point, that it becomes no longer about the timing of when that signing bonus is supposed to get paid needs to happen.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing is, like, you pay Jared Goff for what? What has he done over this last few years? Like, I get it. A couple years ago, Jared Goff was at the top of his game, but last year, and then you pay him after last year, after Todd Gurley, over Todd Gurley, that don't make sense to me.
Yeah, and
that's why I was like, you know what? Actually, I'm glad Gurley and Cook got out of it.
Yeah. For sure, because they're going to pay Cooper Kupp with no questions asked. But let's talk about your post-career. You had coached the arena team for a year. How was that, man? You're head coach of an arena team.
That was the craziest thing in my life because it was, you know, where I'm at, first off, you don't get the support. You didn't get the support from, not the fans, I'm talking about, from the ownership. And things weren't in place as tight as they should have been. So it's harder for me to really focus on the game of football fully. But what it was, man, it showed me a different aspect of the game. And then also how many of us young men are going through this battle of trying to make it pro and just to be seen and get an opportunity. And it brought me so close to a lot of men. I mean, we had 25 men on that roster. and throughout the season, it's probably about 40. But it's a fun game, really entertaining. My guys, man, I love them to death, and it's just an awesome, cool kind of journey to be on, man. When you start coaching and realizing, man, that you're pushing somebody else to be great.
Yeah.
Honestly, I had one of those like epiphany type moments where I was like, man, I honestly feel like that's what God put me on this earth for. It's like I'm a great athlete. I ain't gonna lie. I feel like I still got a lot of talent and talented than most of these wide receivers that's in the league today. Shoot, some of these quarterbacks, honestly. But it's one of those things too that I also feel like I got something that I can pass on to the next generation, to my son, to kids, athletes, anybody. About experiences, about how to go after something like you've never had before, and with no excuses.
Yeah. So what advice is now you went to the coaches and like you said you had an epiphany. What advice would you give to kids that's coming through high school, trying to decide college and want to get to their level of pro?
First off, quit is not an option. In situations, and when coaches are trying to push you through something, it's also take yourself out of the situation. Sometimes you got to not take things so personally, and with the way coach is coaching you, and look at it on the other end of, he might think that I got a lot to give, and I need to go after it like such. Put everything into that basket and go after it. My thing was, when I first got to Iowa, people don't understand, it was like I wasn't playing right away. It wasn't one of those things. I had to work and I had to see, man, what's happening, what's the reasons, and kind of pay attention. It's like, I worked hard in high school, but I never really put extra work in. So when I became a receiver, it was like my second chance to be like, hey, okay, I'm at this position. I got an opportunity. What am I going to do with it now? So I took another step forward and said, okay, how do I become a better receiver? I start watching film. Jason Avant, man, I looked at Jason Avant senior practice tape more than I watched anybody's game, because I was looking, you can see the technique. And in practice, guys are a lot harder to play against than they are in games. So, I studied it and practiced it and start walking through the halls with it and did extra push-ups, extra sit-ups, and everything became about working harder than anybody else. Mm-hmm. And that's what pivoted me to that next spot was, we're going to all be at the same level at first maybe, but I need to show everybody around here why I'm better. And it's competing. Don't be afraid to compete. Competing is not a bad thing. And that's one thing I sometimes hate about the younger sports today, where they like, oh, let's get everybody a trophy, or, this and that. It's like, well, if that guy won first, he should get the biggest trophy. You know what I mean? Because he works that hard, and that's what life is going to be about. It's not going to sit here and just, be handed to you. You got to work hard and work harder than the others next to you.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely good advice for any kids coming up now. I'm really doing this, to like inspire the kids, give advice, talk to kids that's been there on that level.
Yeah.
Spread that knowledge, because some of them just, just out there just trying to go when it's things you need to take to get there.
It does, man. That work is, everybody just want to get to the game, and people don't understand, man. When they see these athletes crying at the end after they won a championship, it's not just because they won the biggest game. It's because that work they put in there to get there has bottled them up so much that they engulf their life into this. And, when you're doing something at the highest level, you have to put your mindset to say, okay, whatever it takes, mentality, whatever I got to do for my team or for my unit, to lift each other up, to push each other, whatever that is, I got to be that.
For sure. Well, what's your top 5 receivers?
Man, top 5 receivers, we're going to go, you got to go Jerry. He got to be in everybody's. And then when I go to, man, I'm going to go Randy, T.O., Larry.
Yeah.
And then like I'm gonna even go with some new school, because I'm telling you, like, when you watch Julio, man, he nasty. And what's my last one? I'm missing one because Ocho Cinco and DeAndre Hopkins, it's like a group for the next ones, right? It's like you got Ocho Cinco, DeAndre. I'm missing a couple other ones, man. But it's like, man, there's so many dope receivers that like you be watching, you be like, man, this dude really different.
Yeah, Chad was like, really different.
He really different. Like, and people like, so I got a chance that like a lot of people didn't get a chance to see was T.O. Right. So being with the Eagles, you got old practice film, right? And if you watch the way this man practice, it's different. right? It's different. It's like they go after it different. Like so, and Larry was one of those guys I really looked up to a lot because man, Larry don't drop off.
He don't.
You know, and
No.
and Larry made crazy catches, and he didn't have that guy. I mean, he had some God gifts to him. Don't get me wrong, but he didn't have that God gifted speed like some of these guys got, like D-Jack and Mike Wallace and Ted Ginn, and I've seen them been close to. You know, the technique they put in, the strength, the physical. So yeah, man. But yeah, Jerry, Randy, T.O., Ocho, and Julio. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm missing the big one too. And this is one I saw the other day that people forget about. But Calvin Johnson is unstoppable wide receiver.
I mean,
and people forget. I mean, really be honest, he's probably the most unstoppable receiver we've had since Randy Moss.
For sure. I mean, Detroit, his career, I think he just lost motivation when Detroit.
Well, and it's
get out. It was
that's the hardest part, man. You when you don't let players get out when they need to win. And that's the thing. You got to remember, man, we competitors.
What did he play, 6, 7 seasons?
I think so, 7 seasons, man. And that's where I'm going to – he's going to be in my top 5 because you ain't going to tell me there's not a receiver out there that was more dominant than Calvin Johnson. What had 3 people – man, I had to beat Calvin Johnson in practice 1 week. That was the hardest thing ever because I had to go against vices in the red zone. And who does that? These are NFL athletes.
Right.
Okay, top athletes in the world, and they got 2 people that have to sit on side of him. So I had to go through that and actually caught it and spiked the ball in the practice between Nnamdi Asomugha and Kurt Coleman.
Yeah.
But it was like one of those things that it was like, man, I really thought about it. I was like, man, this man is really an animal.
Yeah, then with a safety over the top. they don't be understanding all that, bro. He's bracketing 3 people just like
Yes.
That's bananas. Tell us about, I see now, I'm about to wrap it up. Tell us about you training the kids. I see you giving back that knowledge and trying to get people better and spread their knowledge. Each one teach one, man.
And, I've been blessed in my life to not only see professional athletes throughout my life that have given me words of wisdom or different affirmations about what I believe in myself, and coaches that do the same. But I've had teammates, man, that lift you up. I've had coaches and mentors that have really, set and showed me that they care about me on different levels. But then also they want to see the best of me in the sporting realm. And like Coach McCullough is one of those guys, man. Coach Josh Martin even, and then you get up and even some of my AU coaches, man, like Sam Pearson, man, like my dad and Coach John and Coach Chris Carter. All those guys, man, they're big reasons to who I am today. But man, you get guys like Eric Campbell. Those are the men that I say, without these men in my life, I wouldn't be here. And so I feel like I deserve, and my goal is that I can't sit here and hold back the knowledge that I have and not give it to the next generation to make them better, because then I'm cheating. I'm cheating society. I'm cheating my gift that I have.
Yeah. Nah, that's dope. Definitely got to give back. And like I said, this kind of what this for is try to get people on her. Like I said, they've been there or been at the D1s or D2s, undrafted. It's different stories that we can all tell.
Yeah.
Help the next kid. So if they don't get drafted, that's not the end of their journey.
Nope.
And still make a roster. So that's our big bro. I appreciate you. This one, I needed this. We're supposed to have a team. I needed this one.
Yeah, man. I'm sorry, man. I had to get through it, but man, I'm glad we did this, man. Sometimes that's therapy for me too. Shoot.
I appreciate it. Like I said, I appreciate you. If you got any other, cats you played with, like to jump on her, talk some sports or whatever they story. It'll be love.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate
for sure.
Bro, love.
Yeah. One love, bro. Appreciate you.
Shooting my shot like I play for the league, young nigga. Content, no days off.